Hello, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Nice to see you all. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. I'm just going to talk through this and then we'll get cracking. So today's webinar is going to last 1 hour, including Q&A. And what I'm going to try and do is have lots and lots of space and time for the Q&A. So we might whiz through the end bit just so we can get to the Q&A, because I imagine you have lots and lots of questions around this thing. The lovely Maria is doing our closed captions today. So if you're on the desktop or mobile version of Zoom, you can use the CC button at the bottom, and then we've got live captioning for you so you can understand what I'm saying. This webinar is recorded and it'll be available on our website within about 7 days. Probably sooner, probably this week, we'll get it out to you. So we'll send an email with a link to it all, with a recording and extra resources as well for you to just view everything that we talk about today. But please say hello in the chat. If you select everyone from the drop down, you'll be able to, everybody else will see your message as well, not just the host and panelists. That's including you, Ollie. So we have the lovely Ollie, the other tech champion for digital marketing, and Ollie is helping me today in the chat. So you give us a thumbs up using the little reaction buttons or little smiley face. Can you hear me? Is everything coming through okay? Oh, look at all these lovely people. Hello. Oh, look at all those lovely, a heart. Thank you. Whoever put the heart in. Absolutely brilliant. So, just to say, we've got a Twitter account. If you use Twitter, please follow us on there, and please use the hashtag Digital Culture Network. Go hashtag, and then say how you're having a wonderful day. Happy post pancake day, everyone. So, welcome to another practical session from the Digital Culture Network team. And today's subject is, it's a hot topic, this one. It's all about Google Analytics 4. And what I'm going to be talking about throughout the whole of this webinar is I'm going to reference it as GA4. So Google Analytics 4, I'm just going to be saying GA4 quite a lot as we go through. So that's what I mean when I talk about that. And if you have any questions, we've got the hashtag is Digital Culture Network. So it's our name for who we are. Thank you. There we go. So I'll keep an eye on the chat as we go through, but please use the Q&A function. There's probably lots of questions that you have around Google Analytics 4, and we can get to it at the end, and I can show you specific things if we don't get to it as we go through this presentation. So my first question for you is, where are you? Not physically, not your location, but where are you on your journey with Google Analytics, and especially Google Analytics 4? So I'm going to launch a poll now, and if you wouldn't mind answering that. So I'll launch this one for you. So that should pop up. Wouldn't mind answering this question. So where are you in your Google Analytics journey? First is, I have no idea what this is. Please just tell me. Tell me what it means, how it works, or things like that. The second option is, I've used Google Analytics, Universal Analytics, but not the new version. And third, we've got, I've set up Google Analytics 4 and would like to know how to use it. And fourth, I've been using GA4 and want to know how to customize it. Brilliant. Okay, a couple more seconds and I'm going to close it. Fantastic. Amazing. 100% of you have answered. Thank you so much. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to end the poll now. Okay, I'm going to share that with you. So a lot of what we're going to cover today is the first three. But I have no idea what this is. I've used the old version, but not this one. So we're going to talk about how the differences between the two. And you've set it up and you want to know how to use it as well. So we're going to cover a little bit of that. And the last one about customizing, we might get into the Q&A. But what we're going to have is further webinars around really customizing this system. So this one is about getting started, the very basics of getting everything set up. So if you're at that level on the fourth question, some of this you already know. You'll be like, I've done all this already, but you might learn things as we go along. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing that. So with all of this, please keep this in mind, is that you are not alone. It is a complex thing, getting used to this new system and the new platform and the way it works, but you're not alone. We are here to help, okay? So the Digital Culture Network is here to help. I'm here to help. So I've been doing a lot of this with cultural organizations, and I can help guide you through certain elements, and we can have a one-to-one chat about what you need and how we can get you set up and the next steps for you with Google Analytics 4. So don't ever feel like you're alone. You can reach out to us. What Ollie's going to put in the chat now is a link to my calendar. Now, this is a special link just for you, my attendees of this webinar. So you can book into my calendar. If you are within arts and culture in England, you can get access to this for free. So please book in, it's free. Ollie's just popped that in the chat for you. So let's just get yourself booked in. I'm here to help, okay? So anything we talk about today, we can just go through it again together. If you want to go on to the next stage of stuff, of configuring stuff, again, we can do it together. So I'll help you through those and I'll take you on this lovely journey. Okay, that's enough of me. Anyway, so this session, what we're going to talk about today, firstly, is how it works, how Google Analytics 4 works technically. So I'm going to explain that. Then I'm going to talk about the steps you are needed to set it up for your website. So creating an account and installing it on your website. We're going to talk about what events mean. So this is a big thing within Google Analytics 4. We're going to talk about what they mean and how you can use them. And then we're going to be exploring the interface and reports. So generally, how do you navigate the interface and where are the things that you need to find? And lastly, we're going to have some next steps and recommendations about what you should do after this. And at the very end, we'll have the Q&A. So as I said, hopefully we'll have plenty of time for that. So please do ask your questions in there. We've got a nice Q&A function. It's probably at the bottom of your screen. Press that and ask the questions, and we'll get to those at the end. Thank you. So a question for you, please put it in the chat. Answer this question. Why are website analytics tools useful? Any ideas? Put it in the chat. Click everyone from the drop down so we can also see it. Okay, Hannah says, so that you can see who is looking at a website and when, etc. Brilliant. We've got, oh God, they're flying in now. Hang on. To know your audiences and traffic better. Yep. Measuring user engagement. Yep. We can see which are our most popular pages. Yep. It helps you know how your website is performing. Brilliant. Oh, good question, Maddie. We'll get to that about if you've already set it up, will it automatically swap over? I'll talk about that in a bit. So insights for engaging your audience, how you for your audience engaging with your content. Brilliant. What works? Yeah. Measure the effectiveness of campaigns and how to optimize campaigns. Amazing. These are all great. You all know what this is. Wow. Fantastic. Thank you so much for putting those in. I'm just going to talk about 4 areas, and you've all covered these already. So firstly, it's where are my users coming from? So your website with website analytics is going to tell you where are your users coming from. And that could be various places. It could be other websites sending traffic to you. So people clicking links from other websites to your website. So if you're based in a specific location, it could be like a visit, whatever city you're in, visit Manchester, and are you on there? Are people connecting through there? And what that can do is highlight opportunities about where you might want to place your content. So if you know your audience visits certain websites and you're not getting links through to your site, you're not seeing traffic, you might want to work or approach them to do something collaboratively. It'll also show you your marketing campaigns as well. So if you're doing stuff on different social channels, is that driving traffic to your website? It also can show you how users are behaving on your website. So what pages they're visiting, as you've said in the chat. So thank you for those comments. But absolutely, how users are behaving on your website. And the third option, the third reason why they're useful is that it's taking specific actions as well. And this is where Google Analytics 4 becomes really powerful, because anything can be tracked about what's happening on your site, because we've all got different objectives that we want people to do on our websites. It's not all the same. Every organization is different. Every individual is different who has a website. So what actions are important to you and are they being tracked? And Google Analytics 4 makes it quite easy to do those things. It's a lot more customizable than the old version. And finally, how is my website performing? Are people hitting a lot of 404 pages? Is it really slow? Are people not engaging with what you're doing? Absolutely, it can tell you these. So thank you for those. There are just some things that why it's useful, but there's lots more as well. So I'm now going to talk about how it actually works. And when a user visits your website, if you have Google Analytics installed or any other analytics platform, what happens is that if on their browser, so on their different devices, they'll have a browser that they're looking at the internet on, look at your website on. And what will happen, it will set a cookie. So that's a little piece of information that will be set on that browser, on that specific device. And then that's set by a piece of JavaScript. And that's the bit that we're going to show you how to install on your website later on today. So there's a bit of script. When someone visits it at the website, it sets the cookie. And then when they come back to the website, it looks at the cookie and says, oh, you've been here before, so you're a return visitor. It's used for that kind of information. So that JavaScript picks up the information about the user and looks at their actions and what's happening on the website, and it passes the data to Google servers. And then finally, you can see those reports in the interface in Google Analytics 4, and I'll show you that in a minute. What's happening, and the way that one of the main reasons why Google Analytics 4 has been created is because it uses an event-based model. So any action can be tracked. So it's people visiting pages, scrolling down a page, downloading files, and all of those things. Because what it's trying to move towards is a future where cookies don't exist. So all the privacy implications that the cookies have issues with, and people don't want to be tracked and things like that, Google Analytics 4 is trying to move away from using cookies. So Max, absolutely right. Google is trying to drop cookies. So it did say it was going to drop cookies in its Chrome browsers by the end of this year. I think that's been extended for quite a big period, so I don't think the technology is quite there. But what Google Analytics 4 is trying to do is prepare for that future where cookies don't exist. So without cookies, they probably won't be able to tell if the user comes back, but you'll still be able to see all the interactions that they have with your website, how they look at different pieces of content, how they download and engage with the stuff that you've put on your site. So if you're on this webinar, you might already have analytics installed in some way, and it might be the old version of analytics that's been around for about 15 years and been growing over time. So this email has been sent to every single Google Analytics user, whether or not you have created a new account or not. It's sending this email out, which is quite frustrating because people that have set up the new version are still getting this email. So it's confusing everybody. But this is saying on the 1st of July, the old version is going to stop working. It will stop collecting data. So it's really important for you to switch over to this new version. And if you don't do anything, and if you don't set up the account yourself, it will try and create a version for you, and it will try and bring across a lot of settings that are unnecessary and are going to confuse the data that you're going to have. So what I'm going to show you today is actually creating it manually and setting everything up as you would want it. Amber, without cookies, does that mean there'll be no separation between visitors and unique visitors? I imagine there'll be other ways for them to track those kind of things. It's not all cookie based, but that's the primary thing that's going to be trickier to track. So if we log into Google Analytics, on the left-hand side here, we have the old version of Analytics. And you'll notice that there's a big message at the top. So if you log in, you'll get this message if you're on a universal analytics platform. So this big message saying you need to switch over because this is going to start working. The new version looks like this. So you can see these charts and graphs look really similar. But the way to identify whether you're on Universal Analytics or Google Analytics 4, the best way is to look at the left-hand navigation. So over here on the left-hand side, you'll see we have these ones, which is home, customization, real-time audience acquisition, behavior, and conversions. On the other one, on the new one, if you hover, initially it'll be actually closed, it won't tell you anything. If you hover over the menu, it will then say it's your your home, reports, explore, advertising, and configure. So that's the difference between these. If you're unsure, usually it's the big message at the top that's the indicator, but if you're unsure, just look at the left-hand navigation. So this one is usually closed, so that's the big signifier. If you log in to analytics, what you will see at the moment is this, and it will try and get you to migrate data across. And what this means is it tries to configure a new account for you using the settings that you have in Universal Analytics. But what it's not going to do is bring across the data from Universal Analytics, because they work very, very differently. So you're not going to get that old data coming across. It will just be some of the settings. And some of the accounts that I've seen over the last few months have chosen this, and then there's a lot of messy data and misconfiguration because of this. So what I'm going to show you today is how to create a new account and just put the basic settings in so it's ready to go. We're going to do that today, and then we're going to show you how you can install it on your website as well. So off we go. We're going to go to Google Analytics, and we're going to create an account. I'm just going to talk you through this. Now, this is obviously a recording, so you can watch this back when we send you the recording to go through the steps. And we're also going to have a guide on the website as part of this as well. So step by step, the different things that I'm going to talk about today. Mainly it is putting your website address, so the domain name, putting that in 3 different places, and toggling a couple of things on or off. And then thirdly, we're just going to turn another option about how long you retain the data for. So those are the 3 things. So I'm going to talk you through that now. So you'll see here, this is Google Analytics, available at analytics.google.com. If you don't have an account already, it will ask you to create one. You will need a Google account to access any of this. If you don't have a Google account, when the option comes up to create one, make sure you choose the option. There's an option there for using your own email address. So you don't have to have a Gmail account to have any of this. So use your own email address and use one that's linked into your organization. You can add extra users in as well, once it's all set up. So you can add different permission levels. So administrators, people that can view it, people that can edit it as well. But I recommend doing that even now. If you have a Gmail account, which is the only way that you access Google Analytics, create a new account with your internal email address and then add that in as an admin through the interface. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to ignore this message at the top. And that pop-up that usually comes, I'm not sure if it's going to launch because I've just been on it. Let's see if it comes up. No, it's not going to come up. But that one on that screenshot, so this one will normally appear. So select no and then press save, and it will stop that asking that question whenever you launch it. So I'm going to go to the admin section, bottom left here. And what you will have is an account. So that's your organization. On the second option is your property. So that's each website that you have. And with Universal Analytics, you'll have different views. So this is how you could filter out certain bits of data to share with other teams. What we're going to do here is have a look first. So we're on the Digital Culture Network, Universal Analytics. So there's a UA within this. Let's see if I can zoom in slightly for you. There we go. And because we're within Arts Council website, Arts Council account, there are different web properties in here. And you'll see we've already got one for Google Analytics 4. So we've named it Google Analytics 4. And the difference is that an account that's Universal Analytics will begin with UA, and it won't have a UA on it if it's a Google Analytics 4 account. So we've already got one for Digital Culture Network website, but we're going to create a new one for an imaginary new website. So I'm going to press Create Property. For my property name, I'm going to call it mywebsite.co.uk. So this is whatever the domain name of your website is. So put that in there. I'm just going to copy that because I'm going to use that again in a second. I'm going to put GA4 at the end. So when I'm looking at that list of accounts and the properties, I can see that which one is GA4. Just makes it a lot quicker. Here you can change your time zone. Can't type. We're choosing United Kingdom, and then the currency is GBP for us. No, it's not a British pound. I always get that one. British pound it is now. Then we press next. You can answer these questions for Google. Arts and entertainment is usually the one for us in our sector. And you can choose the size of your organization as well. These don't affect anything in the interface. This one allows you to create audiences based on some of this. So that's the one to answer. You don't need to answer these ones. So I'm going to press create. And again, what it will do is a prompt about migrating stuff across from Universal Analytics. It doesn't bring across your data, so you can say no and say save. Because it sounds like it does bring across data. It doesn't. It brings across configuration, and that is usually wrong. It's a great opportunity, this, to start setting up from scratch, because your priorities might be very different from what they used to be when the old analytics account was set up. So here I can press web. So I'm going to create a data stream. So this is the data that's going to be coming into the account. We create a data stream. So first I'm going to paste my web address again in here. So mywebsite.co.uk. Obviously that's what whoever yours is. And then you can give the stream a name. I like to use the same again, just so I know what it is. And with these options here, this is one of the major benefits of Google Analytics 4 is that it can track extra stuff straight out the bat. So you don't have to add any extra configuration or use a thing called Google Tag Manager to bring this data across. It's already in here. So first off, page views. So that's when people visit pages and it looks at different things. We've got scrolls. So that's how far down a page people go. So if you're creating a lot of written content, you want to see if people are actually reading it. It can be all in there. Use the scroll. We've got outbound clicks. So that's when people are leaving your website. We've got site search. So that is when people are using your internal search, whatever's on your website. We have form interactions. With form interactions, this is quite a new feature that Google Analytics 4 have turned on, and it creates a lot of messy data. So I'm just going to turn that one off for now. I'm going to recommend you do that the same. Just turn that one off because it adds extra data about forms that it's not particularly accurate from what I've seen. So unless you really need to know specific forms, I would leave that one off now. If you need to track certain forms, obviously get in touch with me and I can help you set up things specific for your organization. The last two are video engagement. So if you've got YouTube videos embedded in your website, this will track how people are engaging with them. Are they pressing play? How far are they watching it? And do they get to the end? And then the last one is file downloads. So automatically it's PDFs, Excel files, various other ones. I can't remember. There's a whole list, but I'll keep that in the, I'll put that in the resources for you. So once you've chosen which ones that you want to turn on, I recommend keeping them all on except for form interactions. I'm going to press save and then create stream. Now there's two places once this loads that we're going to enter it into. We're going to enter some extra information into. But what you'll see at this stage is the installation instructions. Now we've got various platforms here that it lists. I'm just going to do a poll and we're going to ask you what you use. So just bear with me. I'll launch this one. So your website, what is it built on? What do you use to actually add content in for yours? And if yours is a custom or other one, mind sticking that in the chat just so we can see that as well. That'd be great, thank you. Okay, we've got Craft, we've got GitHub. Yeah, Craft and Bracco. Yeah. Yeah. Drupal, yeah. Excellent. Okay, I'm just going to end the poll there. Shopify, yeah. Okay. Brilliant. So yeah, I'm just going to share the results. So 58% of those that answered is WordPress, and we've got Wix at 6%, Squarespace at 5%, Shopify at 2%, and then other at 26%, and then I have no idea, which is 2%. Yeah, it's sometimes depending on what system it is, or it's not part of your job. You're not going to know what system it is. So thanks for answering those. Based on the the high amount of WordPress, we'll show that as a demonstration. With the other ones, some of them have got inbuilt Google Analytics 4 integrations already. Shopify doesn't yet, but they have committed, they said, Shopify committed to adding a native integration for Google Analytics 4 by March. So next week, I hope, or within that, that kind of time period. So there will be stuff coming out from Shopify about that. So if that's the case, I don't know if it's in these options. No. So the ones that the platforms that you have in any of these, you just can click it and give you information about it. So Drupal, if you click it, it will then give you instructions about how to set it up. So step-by-step instructions about what you need to do to install this on your website, which is glorious. It's really nice. You can choose different ones and it will show you those as well. So for WordPress, I highly recommend using SiteKit, which is Google's official plugin. There is Monster Insights, but Monster Insights plugin, it turns certain things off in your account, such as the enhanced measurement, because it wants you to buy its pro version. Whereas the SiteKit version by Google, there's no payment or anything like that. It just works as it is. So I recommend using SiteKit, and that's what we're going to do today. What you can do, if there's no options that you see in that list, you can install it manually by pasting this code into your website. So you can paste it into the header section of your page templates. But again, if you're stuck with any of that or struggling, just get in touch and I'll guide you through that. The last option here is about using Google Tag Manager. That is something that I recommend for organizations that are going to do a lot of configuration, but it's outside the scope of this. But that's definitely something we're going to cover in a future webinar. By setting things up in whatever you choose at this point means the data's going in, and that's going to give you all of those enhanced measurement bits of data as well as the page view data about your users. To add stuff later on, you can switch over to a different method of installing it to get more data later on. So don't worry. This is all about getting it installed and tracking your users now. Okay, so I'm going to use the SiteKit. So this tells us how to do it. So go to plugins, add new, and then install SiteKit. I've done this already. So I've created a fake website, I think I'd use Namecheap to create just a trial website, and I've installed SiteKit automatically. Sorry, I meant before this call. So I'm going to turn this off. So I've got SiteKit installed. Once that's installed, I'm going to click SiteKit up here, and it's going to ask me to link it up with my new account. So we've created a Google Analytics 4 account. So I'm going to say, yes, I want data to appear in WordPress, which is quite nice. And it will ask you to sign in. So I'm going to sign in with my Google credentials, which are attached to my analytics account. So the one that I'm using to create this account is the same ones I'm logging in with here. Go press continue. There's lots of pressing continue as you go through this. Okay. What you can do as well with SiteKit is set up Search Console. And Search Console data is the data that when people are searching on Google's search facility, so google.com, google.co.uk, when they're on there searching, it's the terms that people use about your website and how you rank against them. So it's really useful data, and this will set it up at the same time if you don't already have it set up. So while that's loading, because it might take a moment, I'm going to show you the other areas that we need to configure within the interface as well. So as I said, this is being recorded. These steps are going to be as part of that in written form as well. So when we're on this section, on the web stream details, I'm going to scroll to the bottom and then click Configure Tag Settings. And when I'm here, I'm going to press Show All. And then there's two places I'm going to paste my domain name, which is in Configure Your Domains. I'm going to add a condition, and I'm going to paste my web address in, mywebsite.co.uk. Press Save, and then I'm going to list unwanted referrals as well. Put it in there, press Save. And what those two things do is in your report, sometimes you'll see your own domain name, your own website appear as a referral, and this stops that happening. So it will pass the data through instead. And if you're using like a payment gateway, so if you had like a ticketing system or a shop and it goes off to a payment gateway and comes back to your website, that's what you'd want to list in here as well. So that's more additional configuration you can have if you start to see those things in your reports. So once I've done those, I'm going to close out of those by clicking over here on the left-hand side or pressing the X at the top. And then there's one more place I'm going to make a configuration change, and that's in the data settings here. There's one for data retention. Now, a lot of the data in Google Analytics 4 is on aggregate. So you've got aggregate data. Some of it that you look in the exploration reports, that's where you're digging deeper into reports, it only retains it for whatever's set here. So when you set it up, I recommend changing this to the longest period, which is 14 months. Again, it's not personally identifiable information, but it's just all about specific reports and specific uses of the data that's available. Okay, so once that's done, I'm going to go over here, and then I will choose my account. We've got lots of accounts in here because of the nature of my job and helping people out. I'm just going to choose the account, and then the property is the one that we've created called mywebsite.co.uk GA4. It does ask you to create a universal analytics property, which is infinitely frustrating because there isn't one. There shouldn't be one. And I don't want to create a new one, so I'm just going to choose this. Unfortunately, you have to create one. You might have to create a universal analytics property as well, it means that it's going away in a few months. It's a bit of a pain. So I'm going to press Configure Analytics. And it's going to ask me for some more permissions as I go through. I'll leave you to read all of the terms and conditions from Google as part of this. Okay, there we go. So congrats, we've set up analytics. So what we've done is created an account. We've configured it with some of the recommendation of the configuration. And then over here, we've installed it using SiteKit. So when people visit this website now, which I'm going to stick in the chat, if you wish to visit it, there's nothing on it, unfortunately, nothing exciting anyway. When people visit that, what we should start to see, if anybody clicks it, and if it's pulling data through, okay, sometimes it takes a while to pull this data through. We can look at the real-time report and we'll see if anything comes up. So in theory, because of what we've done, we set everything up, it's all pulling through the data, it should start to track. But as I say, sometimes with new accounts, it doesn't track straight away. Let's just see if it is installed. Yeah. SiteKit, yeah, so it's not working for me because I'm logged in. Anybody, if that comes up? No. We did this in the, oh, hello, there's one. One person has come. So somebody's in Leeds, hello. So this is the live data with our reports, and it starts to track. So as I say, with brand new accounts, it sometimes takes a while for it to start to pick up real-time reports. There we go. Someone in Blackpool. Hello, Blackpool. This is great. And real-time reports are great for things when you're doing like an on-sale or anything like that. So if you're doing on sale, you start to see people appearing everywhere in these reports. With real-time reports, it's showing what's happening on your website right now within the last 30 minutes. For anything else, you have to wait 24 hours for the data to appear in the other reports, and we'll look through those in a moment. There we go. Hello, Bristol, another one added. We'll leave that up and we'll come back to that if people are visiting it. So we've done that. We've installed it. We've used our different options. So we use SiteKit, but the different ways of installing it. So I'm just going to talk through the recommendations of that configuration again. There are only three things, and it's enhanced measurement, making sure that's on, but turning the form interactions off. The second is adding your domain, so whatever your web address is, to two places, which is configure your domains and the list of unwanted referrals. And then the last is increasing the event data retention from 14 months to 14 months from 2 months. And that's under data settings and data retention. for basic setup, those things are absolutely fine. That's going to give you a really nice setup of account of what tracking all those things automatically of what you need. And we've installed it, it's coming through. We'll see if anything else is. So a few more. We've got Manchester as well coming through there. So it's starting to work, and it's picking up those people that are coming and clicking that link. So what I'm going to talk about next is the way Google Analytics 4 works when it comes to events and parameters. So the events, they power GA4. They're very different. It's called a data model. It's a different way of doing things. In the past, everything was tied to a page view. So anything else, a page view happened and lots of other things, bits of data were passed through to that. But with GA4, it's splitting it out. So instead of it being all based on pages, it's a different way of structuring the data. And they're called events. And there are events that are that are captured, and you can define extra ones to track as well. So I'm going to talk through some of the standard ones about what are collected. And with any of these, it just counts. So there's a thing in the reports called event count, and that just tracks a number against any of these. So the first one is first visit. So number 1 against this, if you come, it says, this is the first time you've been here. I've checked the cookie and I've seen that, no, you've not been here before on your device or on this browser. So I'm going to put a number against it, first visit. The second is page view. So when people visit specific pages, it's going to track that. So a page view has happened. The third is session start. So it's the beginning of a session. Now, each time somebody comes back to your website, a new session begins. And that's what that number is. So it's tracking against that. So every time someone comes back to your website. The fourth is user engagement. And there's loads of stuff in here, and it's really interesting. So this is people being classed as an engaged user. And it's very, very different from the old version. And what this can do, because it's intelligent enough, is know when the website is actually being looked at. So you might launch loads of different websites and then have them saved in a tab that's just not in focus, no one's looking at it. But Google Analytics 4 can tell when you're actually looking at it. And an engaged user is somebody who has been looking at your website for more than 10 seconds, or has visited a second page, or has completed a conversion event. And we'll talk about conversions in a bit. So these are far more interesting metrics. And that's what Google Analytics 4 is capturing about everybody that's coming to your website and how they interact with the different pages and different actions that you are tracking, especially through enhanced measurement as well. With enhanced measurement, these are the things that it's tracking. So we'll talk through these. So the first is outbound links. For some reason, they've called it click. So if you look into the reports and you look at it and see, oh, it's called click, it actually means outbound click, which is, I don't know why they've named it that. It's really frustrating. So that's people going to websites that are not yours. And those configuration bits that we did will help it understand what is not your website and what is an external site. We've got the file downloads. So as I said before, PDFs, Excel sheets, Word files. You can extend that if you need to. Scrolls, people moving down a page, people viewing search results. So what are the terms that people are using? And then we've got things like video start. So these are YouTube videos embedded on your website. How far, and then did they get to the end? So those are all the events that are as standard and the enhanced measurement that are being tracked. We've turned those on with ours. And what it'll do, it'll count every time those things happen. So it'll put a 1 against each one. That's a metric. But underneath the events are parameters. And this is where it holds extra data that's more useful. So instead of looking at another report and then saying, page views have happened, and it's a 1, it's like, or 10, it's like, great. But what are those pages? That's where parameters come in. So parameters sit under events and they get passed through to analytics at the same time. So first is page location. So that's what URL is it? So the actual full string. And then the page referrer. So what was the previous page? This is where it's picking up data about what is sending traffic to your website. It picks up and goes into referrer, or as they're moving and navigating through your site, what was the previous page as well. There are automatic parameters that get passed as well, such as things like page title. So what's it, if you look at your tab in your browser, what is the page title? That's what gets picked up as well. So there's loads of data that goes into analytics that's getting picked up. And with those, you've got your events and you've got your parameters. The parameters and the data that goes into parameters is categorized in two different ways. So first, it could be a dimension, which is a category of information, so an attribute. And the second is a metric, so it's a measurement, a number. So the dimensions could be things like a visitor's city or their source of referral or browser type, things like that. And your metrics are like your numbers of visitors or your numbers of page views, numbers of sessions, things like that. So the structure when you're looking at reports are either it's a dimension, so it's giving you some words, or it's metrics, which is numbers of things. And that's really important to think about when we're looking through the data. And there is another split, again, as we go through and deeper, is that we've got qualitative versus quantitative data. And quantitative is how good something is. And that's where you'd look at engagement rate and then conversions and things like that, about how good something is. And then qualitative is how many, so that's the metric, so the number of users or the number of sessions as well. So based on what you need to know, you might be using different metrics or different dimensions to bring the report of what you need together. So these are some frequently asked questions that I see quite a lot with the cases and support that we offer through the Digital Culture Network. I just want to talk through a few, and if they match what you're thinking as well. And if it's not, please use the Q&A, because we're going to get to that shortly. We're going to talk through those after we've had a quick view of the reports. So the first is, can I import historical data? So you've got loads of data. You might have had up to 15 years of data in Universal Analytics since 2005. The answer is no. You can't bring that old data into Google Analytics 4. You can export it and you can save it and keep it elsewhere, but you can't bring it into Google Analytics 4. So that's one of the major things that you can't do with it. It is frustrating, but the way it's structured in the different bits of data means it's just not possible. It's not technically possible. So the data is available from, it's from the 1st of July. It will stop collecting, but you've got another 6 months to look at the Universal Analytics data and then export it during that period. So you've got to the end of the year. The second is, what dimensions and metrics are useful? There are many, and it all depends is the answer. So based on your art form or what you're trying to report on, what questions you're coming with, means that there are different metrics and different dimensions that might be useful for you. But we can talk through those in the Q&A as well. Another one I get quite a lot is, where is X report? So your X means that, whatever they've mentioned, is that in Universal Analytics, you're probably used to the interface of where things are, and it doesn't exist as standard in Google Analytics 4, so we can have a look through that again. And the last is, what do I do with the data in the report? So you've got report, you've got it's telling you something, and then what do I do? What are the next steps? So that one we're not going to talk about today, but we're going to have more webinars over the next few months. They're going to talk you through the different stages of these. So what you can actually do with the data that's coming through with the Google Analytics 4, how you can really customize it to what you need, and how you can use something like Google Tag Manager to get even more data in as well. So all that stuff will be covered, but it's just a bit too deep for this 1 hour that we've got today. So into the reports. When you're in Google Analytics 4, if you click over here on the left-hand side, this is the reporting bit. It's just called reports. And as we've looked at today, we had a quick look. We had a look at the real-time reports about what people were doing, because that's what we selected over here. As you hover over this left bit, it will pop out, And sometimes it's really infuriating and doesn't allow you to tick things, but you can do it. And what we have as standard, so this list over here, we have as standard, is a variety of different things. So first we have acquisition. We'll make that a bit bigger so we can see it. And the stuff that you can see in here is all about how did they find me? How did my users find me? So that will show you the different sources and a type of campaigns that you might be running that are driving traffic through to your website and where are people coming from. With acquisition, the standard reports is split into two. So you've got one which is user acquisition, so how the person came and found you initially. So it's all about finding the user. And then there's session reports as well. So that's each time they come back, how did they find you each time? Which they're both relevant and really useful. Majority of the time you'll be using the session report. Engagement is what are they doing on the site. So it will have a list of events that you've got, but also show you the different pages that people are visiting as well. And you can also see they've added a new one, which is called landing pages. So where do people enter your website, which is really good. Next is monetization. So if you're selling things, so you have a shop or a ticketing system, you'll have that linked in there, hopefully. Again, I can help with that if you're struggling. And that will tell you transactional data about your users. The other ones at the bottom here are around users, which is demographics, about who are they. You can turn on an option called Google Signals, which accesses the Google display network, and it will pick up data about your logged in Google users. And that will give you more granular data about their age and their basic gender as well as their advertising interests. So you can turn that functionality on. If you're looking into the demographic reports now without turning that on, it will be more about the geographic location of where they are. And the last one is what technology are they using as well. So what devices, what browsers, and what screen sizes. So it's all in there. And these, what I view these as are like a shop window of the data that's available for you. So you can click through any of these, and I'll quickly show you. I'm not going to use this one because we've only just set it up. So I'm just going to switch to our Digital Culture Network account because this will have more data in it. One thing to mention is that the things that are in the list here, in the library, you could add extra things into this report. You can also remove certain options as well. So you'll see here that we have monetization is there as standard. The Digital Culture Network does not sell anything, so we don't need that. So we've actually, in the library, we've just turned it off. So it gives you customization of this, which is great. If I was to look at acquisition, traffic acquisition, this will break down the categories, the default channel group it's called. So it tries to group them into different channels and it will list them in here. So this is very similar to what you'd see in universal analytics. So organic search, that's people searching on Google. Direct is when Google doesn't know. That's when it's coming directly into the address bar, or people are sharing it on like WhatsApp or something like that, which is an encrypted platform. I'm going to direct. We've also got email, so coming from email systems or providers. Unassigned is when it doesn't match any of these default categories. It's usually when you're running campaigns and the terminology is not quite right. We've also got organic social, so that's from social networks. Then we've got referral, which is other websites. If you want to dig deeper into this data, there is a drop down here. You press that drop down, and if you look at source medium, which is what is the website, and the medium is how is it presented, you can click that and it'll give you a much more granular detail of where that traffic's coming from. You'll see Google organic for us, bringing loads of traffic in the date range that we've selected here. You can override this. We've also got click dimensions, which is our email system. So if you sign up to our newsletter, that automatically adds this extra tracking at the end of the URL, which allows us to track this. And we've also been doing things on Twitter. So we're tagging our URLs with extra information to pass this data in. So this list is the top 10, and you can choose to show more by choosing the option here. There we go. So the whole list here about where your users are finding you will come into this. For engagement, if we click into here, We have the events, which, as I said before, will have an event count against each one, so a number against each one. So page views, lots of page views have happened, but it's not telling you anything else. So it's good for an initial list, but it's not giving you anything. If you click into these, frustratingly, it only shows you what's happening right now. It's not going to go into more detail, which is not very good interface-wise. In these options, we can then look at the pages and screens as well. So we can see what pages people have visited. This gives you the page title. And if we want to look at the URL, we can choose page path. So the / is just your homepage. And then you've got different websites. That's where people are the most visited pages. If you want to look at landing pages where people are entering your website, you can click into landing page report and do the same. So this is where people are entering the website. So we've got our Digital Culture Awards, which is, we've announced a long list, so loads of people are going to view that, which is great. So these reports, as I said, are a shop window. It gives you very, very top level stuff. If you want to dig down into the data, you need to go into this section, which is called the explorations. And what you'll see here in this interface are the options to choose different reports. So this is where you can dig deeper, so you go much more granular. The normal reports, as I say, is a shop window, but when we're in here, switch back to that, you can create your own reports and then you save them here and then you can access them anytime. So for us, for example, we've set up a report within explorations, and I'm just going to quickly show you this because we've not got long, but the next webinar that I'm going to run is all about the reporting and how to build these reports. So we're going to go into much more detail about that there. We've set it up, got everything configured, and I'm just going to show you quickly these things. So within explorations, you choose the dimensions and metrics that you want to report on the left-hand side. So for us, it's the file name. I want to know what is the file name. I want to know how many times, which is event count. And then I'm using a filter on the event name. So at the bottom of here, we've got a filter that says if the event name equals file download. I know this, we're going through this really quickly. And I've said, I want to look at file names and how many, and then that's what generates this report. So we can see that in the date range we have selected over here on the left, this is our most popular, our customer journey webinar PDF has been the most popular piece of download. So all of the bits of data are available in here. If you click here, you can pick and choose all the information that's already being tracked against your account. As I said, for a new account, you're going to have to wait 24 hours for this data to come in. Okay, and I'm not going to go into more detail about that because I want to do some Q&As before the end. But these are my recommended next steps. Is thinking about what you want your users to do, because what we've got tracking as standard are a lot of different metrics and analytics, but you might want to track specific events that will need to be set up separately. So think about what you want your users to do. Is it filling out a form? Is it downloading a specific file? Is it pressing certain buttons on your site? Have a think about that. You'll have different audiences that you want to do different things as well. Links Google Search Console as well. So Google Search Console is giving you data about people, how they found your website on Google Search. What terms are they using to find you? It's really, really interesting data. And that links into your search engine optimization that you might want to do. We linked it automatically using SiteKit. Otherwise, you can do it manually in the admin options. Third is about linking your ticketing system or your shop system. So if they are separate or there's a journey people go through on your website, they will need to be set up and linked in separately. I've already created some resources on the website depending on the different systems. But again, get in touch if you need to install a certain system. That will give you the e-commerce data and then transactions. And then fourth is read the additional resources. I'm going to send you a big list as part of this. So it'll be on the page. As you scroll down, there'll be different options about the next steps. The other resources we have, I recommend to inform some of the stuff we just talked about is watching these if you've not seen them before. So one is around Why are you measuring the different things you're measuring? So it will help you focus on the right metrics. The second is using UTM parameters to track your campaign codes. And then the last one is using Looker Studio, which is a data visualization tool, which is like the next stage. And I'll be doing a webinar on that using Google Analytics 4 data for you as well. But as we said, there is a link. I think Ollie's been hammering it in the chat, but please book in with me. I'm here to help you through this. I know it's a lot to take in. And finally, before we get to the Q&A, help us to help you. What we have is a survey that goes out after this. Let us know what your thoughts about it are, and then what you need next. What you tell us in that survey will inform the next webinar that we do and the next piece of content we do. So if you want specific things answering, then let us know in the survey. Thank you. We're going to go to the Q&A now. We've got 5 minutes, so let's bash through them. Let's go, Ollie.
Hello, well done, James. That's great. There were a lot of questions, so I will try and select a good range. Starting from the beginning, this is a good question. If GA4 doesn't include data from Universal Analytics, how will we report back on the historic UA data? Yeah,
so it's about choosing what you need to know and extracting that data out of Universal Analytics. So you could choose to do it on like a yearly basis and then create a report on whatever you need to know. Is it the different users or how they found you or what web pages they're visiting? I'm going to put some stuff in the resources about extracting data and the different options there are for you, but you can get it out. And what we're talking about with the Looker Studio stuff is that you could use, if you export the data, you could then keep that as an Excel sheet and then use that in a data visualization tool to then reference that data to still have some charts and graphs. So you could have that for Universal as well as GA4 as well. So you can link both together. There's plenty of things to do.
Brilliant, James. Okay, this one came up a few times. What is Google Signals? And merging another question together, do we have to update privacy policies to use it?
Yes, with Google Signals, when you're in Analytics in the admin section, I don't know if we've turned it on or not in ours. In here, we have the option under data settings is data collection. So this is where you toggle it on and then you have to accept. So there's loads of information about it in this section of Analytics. So I recommend reading that. This uses the ad network. So you will need to get permission from your users to track them in this way. Now, I'll put an article in the resources as well about cookies and cookie management. So with the Digital Culture Network website, for example, we ask explicitly, can we set cookies to track you using Analytics? If people say no, then no data goes into Analytics. If they say yes, then it starts to track into Analytics. That is the compliant way of doing it. And there are different options for setting it up. But yeah, with the policy, you might have to update that as well using this because you're using the advertising network.
Wicked. Quick one, has bounce rate disappeared?
Yes, but apparently it's coming back, or it has come back, but I've not seen it yet. If what there is in here is a thing called engagement rate, and that is the opposite of a bounce rate. So a bounce rate is when they did nothing, whereas the engagement rate is when they did something, which is far more interesting and important anyway. So see engagement rate as the opposite to bounce rate, but apparently it is in here. I don't know why I've not seen it yet, but apparently it's back in because of user demand.
Brilliant. A couple of questions around setting up events. Are there best practices for setting up events for specific marketing campaigns? And are events automatically created with the data collected, or do you have to create them from scratch?
So when you log in and go into the admin section, you look at events. This takes 24 hours to 48 hours once you first create an account. It will appear in this list. So this is what starts to track. So you can see which events are tracking. You can create your own events based on other events. So this is where it becomes very powerful. And I'll just show you some examples of what we've set up. So for us, we want people to fill out a form. And when they fill out the form, they go to a thank you page. So we've created an event called Ask a Tech Champion, all lowercase. and underscores in spaces. So when an event has happened and it's a page view, and the page location, so where it is the specific thank you page, then create that event. So that's where it counts different things. Some events are quite complex to create, so you might not be able to do it in analytics. You might need to use something like Tag Manager to create. So it all depends on what you need. But again, here to help if you need it.
So to summarize, there are some default events already installed when you set it up, but you can also create your own custom ones, yes?
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. Last question, I think, before we run out of time, and this happened again a few times. If I don't have access to our WordPress site, will I need our web developer to set up GA4? And then a similar question, our web developers have set up and configured GA4 for us. Is there a way I can go through and check the settings they've added? So a few around kind of using developers to set it up.
Yeah, so if it's already the first question is if you need them to set it up, either get them to install SiteKit and then link it in if they have access to this account, or you can send them the code to install. So that would be under data streams. You click your the data stream, and within here you've got the measurement ID, but there's also the options to install it. So there's an option at the top here that will appear for you if you've not installed it yet. And you can get the code to install for you. It'll just give you that. So for view tag instructions, is that this one? Yeah. So install manually. So you could send them this code and say, please install that in the header section of my website, and then they can do that for you. Or they can link it together with SiteKit. If they've installed it already, just go through the options that I went through earlier on. So checking that your domain name is in those two places, and then checking that your data retention is set to 14 months. Those are the basic things to set up. And then if you look at events, you'll have a list of what is being collected already, and then have a think about extra stuff that you might want to collect, and then things that you might want to turn on to track as a conversion for you as well.
Thank you so much, James. I think that's all the questions we have time for.
Brilliant, thanks. Yeah, so based on the questions that you've asked, I'll add that into the resource as well to try and answer some of those things. So thanks for coming along today. And as we mentioned, we're here. There'll be more events all around this topic. This is obviously the very, very beginning. There's getting things set up, but there's going to be more to come. So thanks, everybody, and we'll see you soon.